I will do only this. But nowadays it's gone, right?
Okay, yeah. So once you're working on a profile like a solution architect or enterprise architect, you guys need to work
Okay.
on sometimes different profiles. Like sometimes you're going to work on the cloud security, because the companies are required a person who is just going to create architecture for each and everything, like networking architectures, application architecture, cloud architecture, each and everything, as well as he is
Okay.
going to managing the infrastructure of the company as well.
Even in my company, okay, we have not in my current company, my previous company, they have one position called software architecture. So software architectures, it's actually custom application. We are developing the projects for the public sector, many public sectors. Okay, it's a custom application to the ministries. So the software application, this software architect, role is the person who knows complete code architecture in in that applications, in the complete integration. That also there, right? If I'm not wrong, if you say the software architecture means they know about that in a Java, they are supposed to be Java based application. They should be very strong in the Java. How the code is designed in that application, how it is framed. Then, if it is a database side, they have to know the ER diagram. You know that the table structure. What is the dependency between the one table to another table? Constraints. All these things they have to know about the complete thing, right?
Yes, you're right. Perfect, sir, perfect. So SK is
Yeah.
also available right now, Ashwaji.
Ah, good. Yeah. Hi, SK.
Hi. Hi,
Right.
Rafi and Mahesh.
So Ashwaji, can we continue right now if you're okay?
Yeah, yes.
Yeah, fine, then, yeah. I'm here. Yeah.
Okay, so yesterday, if we just talking about, we have talking about some value of frameworks. So we have some talking about systematic and confined common sense, and captures what others have found to work in real life, contains a baseline set of resources for you to use. So today we have just talking about some enterprise architecture development methods. So first of all, if you just take a look into this picture, you find out the parliamentary. This is the vendor, tool, and technology and natural open standard. So I will going to ask you one question, guys. That in the industry, you just find out some open source, okay, and we have some paid software as well. So which one you going to recommend to your company? The open source is best things for you because there is no costing involved in there. And if you're talking about some paid softwares, so we have got some features, but it you know what, the companies are going to procuring some of the tools, softwares, which is a cost-effective solution. So what's your suggestions? What's your if you have implemented all those stuffs like open source things, how are you going to be customized the applications or the infrastructure tools so that it will gonna help you out in your infrastructure? Yes. So you have any ideas about the open source tools? Uh, we have talking about some Linux-based operating systems. We're talking about some asset management softwares. We're talking about some CMDB tools. We have talking about some and this, security tools. We're talking about some applications tools. So have you ever used which one tools, and what's your advice on the same? Do we need to use some open source tools, or do we need to go for some paid softwares like that? Hello, are you audible?
Hello. Yeah, it is depend on your requirement, the business requirement. Okay. Suppose if that your business requirement is fulfilled with not business, even technical also. If it is fulfilled, okay, we can use that open source, no issues. Yeah, because for example, in that the integration layer, we are using one open source which is called RabbitMQ message queuing system. But it is they have the ready-made we have the product in the market. The IBM message queue. So instead of buying that one, that it is bit costly. Even in the Windows itself, there is a messaging queue is there, but it is a limited feature. So based on our requirement, that is fulfilled. Okay, we are using.
Okay.
maybe it again depends on the risk factor. You have to assess your risk factor in your project. Like if open source stuff like a operating system, maybe you won't take it for the for the production environment. You cannot take an open source operating system because you don't get support. So in case of, as you said, like the Linux or some other version, we will go for Red Hat because the Red Hat have or Oracle Linux. You can go for that or Red Hat, because they have the support. If something which goes wrong in the operating system level and it's panicking or it's creating a problem in the for the applications or something like that, you cannot take it. So open source products like if it is not impacting your the risk factor is less, like a glassfish instead of Tomcat, you're using glassfish, something like that. For the Apache instead of SOA, it's a combination of things you can for the Java applications. So if some Java applications are there, or .NET application, you need some web servers. You can use maybe Tomcat, or if you want free version like Glassfish. So you can use it that one, because even though anything goes wrong, you can change it, and you don't need to major code changes or limitation is there or something you find out after implementing. You can very well easily replaceable. These things in a majorly project, depends upon the risk. You can use it. Otherwise, the support product will be better. Like as I told you, from starting from operating system, sometimes with the backup software, sometimes with the application softwares are there. So it depends on. It's not only depend on the cost part. In our project we don't take it just like that. Okay, this is cheaper, and we don't need to spend money in that way. If you take it, it have a risk factor. Risk factor is less. Risk assessment or risk factor is less. You can go forward. That's what how we took some of the products like this. Combination with it. We have SOA. We have other Oracle products, and plus, as I told you, like the open source products like Glassfish and stuff. We use it because it's not doesn't matter for us. But the database or operating system, we never take any open source products like that. This is
Yes,
as per my understanding.
absolutely. So why I am going to ask you this question is just because of suppose this parliamentary. Suppose you are the project manager of your infrastructure manager of the company. So before you're going to start any projects, you require some vendors, you require some tools and technologies and natural uh, open standard sort of stuff. So the matter of fact that what you understand about the vendor management is all about. I think you are well aware about this, what is vendor management and what are the restrictions, security controls, if you're talking about on the vendor management. And if you're talking about some uh, TPRM, okay, TPRM is your third party risk management, because vendors are your third party, okay, suppliers, vendors, they're your third party, okay, and your third party vendors are just going to access your accounts, okay, company's accounts. Sometimes they're going to accessibility on the cloud environment. So how do you going to provide restrictions or the security controls and protection informations from the vendors? Have you ever done it till now or not?
From my side, I know I don't. I not. We does. I doesn't have work with the cloud architectures.
Okay, no problem, no problem. So Rafael, are you any idea
So
about it on this?
what is that you're saying? Like a vendor, you're asking like a. Uh, I didn't get your question clearly.
My question is there. My question is very simple to you. How do you going to protect your information from the vendors?
How do you choose the vendor products?
No, no, no. I'm just going to ask you a question is how do you going to protect your informations from the vendors? Vendors are not able to access your information of organizations. What sort of security controls you going to implement?
Yeah, that See, basically, like a product like see any vendors, whenever you need a support from them, it's not we don't give. This is what you mean. Like we don't give an access just like that vendors to intrude or resolve our problem just like that because we have security layers. We don't show the data or we don't give the actual log to send to them just like that. So this is what you mean or something else?
Okay.
Like I give an example like say like any backup EMC backup software has some issue EMC we are getting, so we don't give them in or the database level also. Even we don't give the access to them to see the issue or the full control for the vendors, whoever is providing the software, who are giving support. This is what you mean, like or I'm not sure about it. Till now I'm not clear about the question, but I think the security level we don't generally we don't give the access. Even we took the products from them, they have the support with contract with us for the vendors. Even the hard disk we don't give it back to the Dell or whoever to them, when it got have problem. So like that, so many restrictions or the security layer or protocols are there. Even the database layer or even the application or even the hardware level when you to provide back to the vendors. If we have
Uh,
set it up, this is
okay,
what you
okay, I
mean.
understand. So I would like to know that how do you going to manage your vendor management in your company? It's not like talking about the only the hardware platforms. We're talking about some software platforms. We're talking
Yeah,
about
software.
some license platform as well.
So correct. That's what I'm talking about. Software is, as I told you, like the EMC, it have some issue, or the backup taking an issue, or database have some issue. So when we give the logs or access to the Oracle support or EMC support, we don't expose the things for them everything. The limited one, what is required for them, maybe to resolve the issue, they might require the logs or certain logs. So that log we will fill. We don't give just like that the complete data along with the log. We don't give to the upload to their website or through the WebEx they are connecting to our machine. We don't give the access to directly to the server or do investigate what is the issue just like that. That's what I mean to not only the hardware, the software level also. There is a policies of to protect the data.
Okay.
Vendor management, yeah.
So, because you are a security architect, so you need to understand about the vendor management. So, in the vendor management, we going talking about some procurement of any devices or any hardware sort of platforms. Okay, first thing. And second thing, if you talk about the software-based platform, so you need to use some licenses, stuffs like that. Suppose you are using the Dell storage or VMware platform. Okay, at the same time, see your data on the VMs. Okay, and suppose any problems, any issues will be happen to your Dell storage or Veeam storage or any different type of EMC storage sort of stuffs. So vendor is going to check it out your issues. So sometimes they will going to connect with your databases. So what type of security controls have you ever configured till now or not? I would like to know that, especially the accounting authorizations and accountability. Do you have implemented the accountability on the database side? If yes, yes. If you have implemented the database accountability, so that if the vendor is engaged on the call and he will going to take a remote sessions of your systems, or sometimes they will going to connect, come to your office and then going to check it out the informations. So how do you going to protect the informations?
Yeah, these things, we used to take care, like, in the database level or even the application level. Uh, for our products, whatever we are using it, it's the vendor cannot access the majorly things because we have we will normally do, we have a strategy like we will replica the problem in a non-production there, and the data will be shuffled there, and it cannot be accessible. It is like a encrypted data, the database level. And the application level, we used to give a separate user which does not have the majorly permissions to go on to drill down the major areas which can be used. This is all we come the part of the implementation time itself. We will have a strategy of, okay, if there is an issue come, vendor to avoid to any sort of intruding to our system or anything. So even may sometimes you won't see the IP, nothing, he won't understand anything about our system. Vendor still can connect in a way to understand that an issue, to help us or to provide solution for that. So he won't be able to access directly to the production instance altogether. Even the issue is there, we can replicate that. That's why we have non-production instances, and UAT instances will be there. So in that data level masking, data encrypted one will be there. So anybody connect, and who the preparing, the person who don't understand even the product is a licensed product or non-licensed product, this is not his business altogether. When you ask for a support from their end, because say like sometimes even in the when I was working in Oracle, sometimes some customers upload their log altogether to us without their knowledge. From that we can identify whether this customer have this other department is there. So we will push to their, okay, this is the firm, they might be having 16 CPU, they are using the server and stuff. So maybe they have licensed for only 4. How they are using 16 CPU on the Oracle database? That's what. So we will mark him as okay, he is using illegally the stuff. This sort of things will come one picture. When we are, I'm working with as a vendor, as a product support or product company. When I'm working in the Middle East now, we have the opposite way. We don't give that complete info. When I was there, I used to get so many support work when we are doing. We used to get this sort of thing. So we will identify the customer, and we made a separate wing to go to that customers and tell them, okay, in a nice way, okay, you take our product, this one we'll give a discount. If they are hesitate, they will force and tell that, okay, you are using illegally. This is the double game, like behind the back screen. So I'm telling, for this sort of things, we have a strategy to avoid such things.
Yes. So what you're going to do is just, what vendor management, or if you're talking about some CAB, change management database. So you need to be work on the asset management tracking sort of stuff, or vendor management sort of stuff, like how do you going to manage the informations in front of them, because the auditors will be coming to your place, and then they will going to ask you that how do you going to protect your information security on the vendor side. Okay. So at the same time, they will going to perform some third-party risk management. Okay, the vendors and suppliers. So yes, we have to create some sort of security strategies for the vendors, how they're going to perform on the same. So if you're talking about the cloud security platforms, yes, we have some privilege access management. Okay, we have set identity and access management. What type of identity of the person, and what type of access we're going to provide, and what type of approval we required. So these sort of things we need to include in the company. Okay, suppose the vendor will be coming to your security operations center, SOC centers, and your network operations centers. So what type of gate pass, what type of approvals, what type of IDs, okay, and how do you going to say that yes, we have secure environment in the company. So first of all, you need to take some IDs, you need to take from approval from the top management or your higher authority approval management, okay, and then we have some CCTV cameras available. Okay, CCTV cameras will be available. We have some biometrics things available, so that we can going to track each and everything. The vendors availability, and vendors will be coming, and then the registers will be there in the company, so that they will going to sign it, okay, in and out times. The biometrics, CCTV camera footage, okay, and if you're talking about the software side, then we need to provide some accessibility or privilege access management, identity and access management sort of steps. So we need to perform this sort of things once the vendors management need to be performed, because in the auditing, IT auditing, they were going to ask you that all sort of informations. So that's all about the vendor. So vendor is the person or suppliers, and vendor management is of them. So we have some contract. Suppose you have taking some cloud services from the different vendors, and then same time you need to take agreements, the legal agreements with the cloud providers and the cloud user. Suppose your company is going to use the cloud and your vendor is AWS, Azure, or Google Cloud, you need to take a certificates, legal certificates need to be there. Why it is required? Because we have service level agreement will be there. Okay, what type of services is going to providing it, and what type of what amount we need to be paid at the same sort of things, and we should write it down. Some penalties is also there. Suppose the services are hampered and due to this production will be lost, so we have some the penalties need to be applied on the vendor side. So this is the things you need to be take care once you the vendor management sort of stuffs, or the information security side of the vendors. The second thing, we're talking about some tools and technologies, natural open standards. So we are going to use some different type of tools and technologies. So in the IT, okay, suppose you are a CTO or CEO of the company, you're more concerned about the people, processes, and technologies. So technology is a part of it. So suppose you're going to move your technology, your traditional infrastructure to the cloud infrastructure. You're going to migrate your services, okay, ERP solution to some SAP solution sort of stuff, different solutions. So what I'm trying to tell you is this: here is you need to understand the tools and technologies well, understanding about, okay, in the depth, because once you are going to implement or deployment of the technology, you suddenly find it out that it is feasible or not feasible once you're going to use it. So it's better understanding about the technology. This is a requirement in the parliamentary, the step first of the TOGAF. Okay, suppose I will give you some examples on the same. Suppose you guys are going to procurement of firewall, and your management and you suggest that we need to the iOS, the firewall operating system should be updated for the till date. Okay, updated iOS you need to be installed on it. But once is your firewalls working on the production side, it will going to provide some issues. So what are the issues they will going to provide? Because sometimes you are not aware about the beta version. So beta version is a testing version of the firewalls iOS. So once you take the help from the support team, they will not going to provide the help at the same point of time, because it's a testing phase of the operating systems of the firewall, and you are going to use into the production. So they will suggest you need to downgrade your operating systems from the firewall. So this is the technology challenges sometimes you're going to face it. So you need to well aware about all those terms, that which the technology is all about and how to use the technology, and where we're going to implement all those and deployment sort of stuffs. So why it is I'm going to tell you, because technology is you're going to use in the two way. First is the new startups companies, so then you can going to be deployment the technologies, whatever the policies, the standards, they will going to be suggested by the top management. But in the migration, it's little tougher, same point of time. So in the migration, sometimes if you migrated the data, sometimes you feel lots of issues in the technology side. Okay, suppose you're going to send to NAS, you need to migrate your data, or you need to traditional your data moving to the cloud. There's also some challenging sort of things. So what I'm recommending to you, understand the technology into the depth. Suppose the backups technologies, or we talking about some networks technologies, or we have some database technologies. So we have different, and you also aware about the natural open standard. what type of standards we're going to use it on the same. What is the process is, what is the strategy going to implement. So that's all about, what, the parliamentary, accessibility, this one. And you need to, taking care about the vendors, talking about some tools, talking about some techniques, talking about some technologies, talking about some open standards, sort of stuffs. Okay, then we're talking about the phase A. Phase 1 is architecture version. So architecture version avoids reinventing the wheel. What does it mean, architecture version? It's going to avoid the reinventing the wheel. What do you mean by reinventing the wheel? Suppose you're going to create the architecture, okay, and after 6 months, after 8 months, the site, the location will be changed, or there are some, major changes into the architecture. So it need to be changed at the same point of time. So we need to provide architecture versioning. So instead of we going to do each and everything architectures, we need to change the specific things. The second point is business architectures. So business IT alignment. So business architecture is, talking about what is your business is all about. Do you understand your company's business? Yes, we understand your business. So as an IT professional, as an enterprise architect or solution architect, your goals, your objectives are met with this particular business architecture or not. It is matters a lot, because the CEO, CTO, or CEO will take a decision on behalf of whatever the information you have been provided to the management, top management. So it means that the business goals, business objectives, and your IT objectives are at the same page. They should be transparent. We're talking about another one is information systems architecture, so based in the best practices. So what do you mean by the information systems architectures? We have some based on best practices. It means that do you going to implement the TOGAF, the COVID, and the ITL in your company, as these are some best practices for the company. So I have one question for you. Do you guys aware about the COVID or ITL? TOGAF, we are going to do it, no problem whatsoever, but do you have some ideas about the ITL frameworks or the COVID frameworks?
Yes, Mahesh, I done ITIL foundation certifications. I done it 4-5 years back.
That's really good. That's really helped you into the enterprise architecture. It's really helped you.
For me, I don't have any background on the ITIL. I just had a opportunity, to see this PMP as part of our company. They were doing some courses, so that just I attended, maybe a couple of courses of the PMP in 2010. And after that, I don't know anything about it. I don't have any idea about any frameworks. So this side, I'm completely blind on that area.
Okay. Okay.
So yeah.
So I will going to do one thing, my dear friends. I'm just going to share you some information. I will going to share you some PPTs and PDFs for the COVID and also ITAL. So just take a review. Okay, so that's it's really important for you to understand the COVID and ITL frameworks as well, so that you understand the best practices, what is the best use cases. Okay, what is best for the business. Okay, and then what is best for the business, and also how can you align your IT infrastructures with the objectives of the companies. So the matter of fact that you need to develop some sort of best practices for the company. So right now, if I have another questions for you. Suppose is any incident will be coming to your company. Anything, you can say that web servers goes down, or you can see that ISP goes down, or your load balances goes down, or your mail server goes down. So how do you going to this incident going to be respond, and what is the best practices you're going to follow it? Have you ever created the incident response plan for the same or not till now?
Mahesh, yes, from my side, okay, for example, suppose if the load balancer goes down, okay, as per my architectures in our applications, if the load balancer goes down, end user will not access the application pages. So we used to get the call. We actually never used any framework or any plan because our system is very critical system. 24/7, it should be up and running. There is no like creating the incident in the some ticketing system and process and do the some policy oriented. No, we will get the call, go to the data center. I will go to my office even midnight or any time. I will go, I will troubleshoot the issues. Okay, then I found okay, load balancer is not responding. Okay, try to log into the load balancer. I can log into the HTTPS page, but the services are down or some issues. Or even I cannot able to access the load balancer. Physically I will go to the data center with the operation team and other teams. Then I will show the location of my load balancer. Try to make it up, and if it is down, because even the 2-3 weeks back also the same thing has happened, which you asked me. Due to some AC failure, the temperature was very worst in my data center. So the first sensitive device which is not responding is FA load balancer. After some time, 40 get this one firewall also is not responding. So they actually fix the issues within half an hour, that AC issues, whatever it is. So that particular moment, okay, I give the URL to the end user by accessing through the IP address slash then URL service name and everything. So, but as per the ITIL standard, strategy, there is some ticketing system will be there which will be followed, raising the ticket with that high critical flag, and it will be this has to be escalated to that. Depends on the criticality. We can escalate to that management, high level of managements, whatever they will receive as the notification which is configured in the system like SMS or mail, whatever. Then based on that they will be responding. But from our side, we are not following that. Is what I'm trying to say.
Okay, so is this, what, if you're not available at the same time, then what happened? What is the next plan of actions?
As you said, like if it is basically when the initial time of the project, like when we used to go live, we had also similar issues like uh, FI load balancer is there, and sometimes it's not able to access the application regardless some issues or down or a problem with the load balancer or problem from the any side like network side. So when we identify the issue, we we made a change request we have provided to the customer. We are implementing for the customer, like I'm telling you here in the so we suggested them we have to go for high availability. We have to have one more load balancer, and we have made that change for the physical one more load balancer we suggested, and it happened after a couple of months. And this is the action we have taken. But temporary solution, as Rafiq was telling, we do all this stuff, but who go and check and fix and solutions. But it need to have a from this issue once it occur, it should not reoccur. For that, we have given solution and they purchased and we implemented, and it is well and good by the time.
Actually, yeah, yes, SK, that you are right. Actually, that is a part of the IT. Like, suppose if that load balancer is not responding or if there is issues. Actually, it was working fine, right? There is no changes, nothing in the configuration level. It was running for a long time. So, as per my understanding, that we will not have any problem in the load balancer. We don't need to raise the ticket or kind of things. Actually, what I'm in my concern, in my that environment, the company which I'm working now. Okay, if the load balancer is down, that operation team will, that IT team will say, okay, it will take another 1 month to fix the issues. So as a solution architecture, they will come to me. Okay, give me the solution now. What is